Hello, and thank you for joining our webinar on careless intercept selection that is and can get a good researcher fired. Uh, this is something that we've put together to really help our clients and researchers in the industry who are out there investing in doing on-site research and in doing intercepts at their locations. Um, my name is Nitin Sharma. I'm the CEO and president of Gold Research. We are a national shopper insights and market research firm specializing in intercepts. Um, we have around 50 plus years of collective background and experience in doing shopper insights in both the B2C and B2B domains. Um, a little bit more about how we're structured. We have four core divisions in which we help clients with their intercepts anywhere in the US and Canada with their audits, where we gather SKU level intelligence from any retail location on site, anywhere in the country or in Canada. We also help clients with journey mapping, path to purchase research, and in providing ad hoc research support for surveys, tabs, and report development. Um, some of the clients that we work with who rely on us are companies like Walmart, T-Mobile, Petco. Um, Specifically, we also focus on a lot of consumer focused clients like Danone, Conagra, Clorox. We also do a lot of work across the board with financial services companies, food services, as well as manufacturing, technology, and lottery. So as we jump into what this webinar does, the intent of this session is to sort of help you gain from our background and expertise and to avoid some of the pitfalls and intercepts and in on-site research that we see a lot of clients fall prey to. We come from a background of having leveraged intercepts and having, deployed them for our clients in a lot of different formats, including airport surveys, audits, exit interviews, mystery shops, retail shopper research. So our background is diverse, but the reason for this webinar is not to really tout our horn on how good we are. The intent for this webinar is really to talk about how there are errors that are made that we see being made all the time in the industry by clients and by other research companies in doing insight research uh, when it's being done at the store level or at an event or at a conference or inside a retail store. There are so many pitfalls that can so easily be avoided, but we see clients um, do them. We see vendors fall prey to them all the time, and the results are disastrous. Um, Insights are not accurate. Data collection is not done correctly. Resulting data is poor quality. Time and resources are wasted. And above all, what really concerns and pains us is there have been several times when we've seen clients, good, solid researchers, really lose their careers over pitfalls that could really have been avoided. So, coming back to why we're here, I wanted to ensure that we were clear on that the reason for this is not to sell gold research, but more to talk about the things that we've learned, the things that we've picked up in our decades of doing this type of work, and to sort of throw open the curtains and share with you how, what we see are the common pitfalls and how you can avoid them or how you can have your vendor, your data collection vendor, avoid them so that you get quality data, you get rich insights, but above all, you don't jeopardize your career. And I don't say that lightly because we've seen that happen too many times. So, a lot of times the question that we get asked is, well, that's great if you can do intercepts and you are experts in this. How do you get the right people? What do you focus on? How do you ensure that your surveyors are always on time, they're trained? How do you hire them? And we'll answer some of these questions as we walk through these pitfalls on how to select people and how or what are some of the standards that we follow that others should follow as well. But more importantly, what we try to consult clients is, people are important and they are an integral part of any project, especially the surveyors on the ground. But we don't rely on them for the sole success as the sole criteria or the sole pivot on which the success of a project hinges on, because that sometimes can lead to problems. People are people. Sometimes even the best, most brightest trained surveyors, we've seen them make errors. We've seen them fall prey to overconfidence. We've seen them fall prey to bad decisions or lack of common sense. So in our process, our philosophy is really to focus on three things: people, process, and technology. And we'll talk about how if you leverage all three of these, then you don't really need to worry about the success of your project. You don't need to just focus solely on the people, but essentially leveraging people, process, and technology together in every project is really what yields success for us every time and for our clients every time. When we talk about people, we talk about certified, trained career researchers who have a background in doing this thing, who have a motivation to be successful, to not cut corners. When we talk about process, we talk about really ensuring that when surveyors, before they even enter a job site, they are trained on the specifics of that particular project. They have tested the survey several times. When we talk about process, we also talk about monitoring the surveyors when the job is going on, monitoring the data when it's going on. That's something that we will talk about as we go on as well into this presentation and in this webinar. But that's an integral part of how a project is managed to success. When we talk about technology in our philosophy, in our process, then we talk about how we can ensure that the research is done at the right location by GPS, date, and time stamping. How we can get results in real time, how we can check them in real time to really ensure that the work is being done right. So those are sort of the pillars of our philosophy that help us avoid some of the pitfalls that we will now talk about. So as we go into some of these career-killing pitfalls, the number one pitfall that we see a lot of clients make or fall prey to is inadequate survey design. This can be a lot of, there can be a lot of causes for this. Sometimes the surveys we see are too lengthy. Sometimes we see that a lot of inappropriate questions have been inserted into the survey. Sometimes we see a client has just not thought through the questions, and the data collection partner or the vendor is not really equipped to guide them on the specifics of the survey design. This yields a lot of problems like low responses, early terminations, reduced data quality. Our solution to avoiding these pitfalls is really, when you're looking at doing intercepts or on-site research or mobile research, focus on really asking the most engaging, the most relevant questions. Remove the nice to know stuff that you can save for another project or for an online survey. But for your on-site intercepts, keep the surveys brief, 5 to 10 minutes. Ensure that the survey is programmed and is mobile compatible, so that the experience goes faster and glitch free, not only for your surveyors, but also for your customers or the respondents. And don't forget to offer incentives. If somebody is giving you 5 or 10 minutes of their time while they're shopping, an incentive goes a long way in not only keeping them motivated, but also ensuring that they give you quality responses. And this does not bias surveyors or the respondents in any way. I see a question coming up from Stacy on that they have often seen, that they have always been concerned about offering incentives to surveyors to give to respondents, because the concern is that might somehow bias the responses that they get. And no, Stacy, our experience is actually the different. What we've seen is if you don't offer an incentive, then the motivation for somebody to stop what they're doing when they're shopping or when they're going through their purchase experiences, the motivation for them to stop and give you their time is just not there. So really what you're doing by offering an incentive is really compensating them for their time in that they will spend in giving you quality responses. And we're not talking about hundreds of, a huge incentive. In our projects, typically when we do a 10, 15 minute intercept, at the most, if you give shoppers a $5 or $10 incentive, that is sufficient to really boost responses and keep the respondents engaged. A case study that I just wanted to talk about, that is in context of this, is something that we did for a theme park client of ours, where the challenge again was a lengthy questionnaire and a low, unattractive incentive. As part of our solution, we recommended refining the questionnaire. We helped them redesign it, converting it into a mobile format, and offering a $5 incentive. As I said, that sometimes is sufficient to not only boost response rates, but also keeps respondents engaged. Results were dramatic: 65 improvement in responses and actionable insights for the client that really helped them achieve what their business and research objectives were. So that's just a point for how you can avoid this pitfall and achieve success very easily. A second pitfall that I wanted to talk about that we see a lot of our clients, especially when we are doing on-site research for our retail clients or our casual dining clients or our consumer clients, is picking the wrong location. This is often caused by not having the budget or not having sufficient budget or focusing too much on convenience, the timing of the project, or internal pressure from stakeholders. This results in sample that is often unrepresentative and often leads to misleading results. So this is something I wanted to highlight for you. Our solution, what we consult clients on, is consider each site's merits on its own instead of throwing a bunch of sites together. Focus on really, what sites would really help you achieve the business and research objectives of your project. Focus on some of these factors like geography, size, performance of that location, the type it is, the type of clients or customers it has. A lot of times we see clients where the location is decided on the coverage that they can have with their existing vendors. And that is often a concern that we have where a vendor's availability really should not dictate where you do research. That is why also with our clients, we give them the flexibility to pick and choose a location nationwide. With close to 5,000 trained certified surveyors, we can cover any location nationwide, not just in the US, but also in Canada. Uh, an example of choosing the wrong location is something that you're seeing now, which is something that happened with one of our clients. They wanted to test a new concept and launch it within a few weeks. And what we did was, when this client engaged with us, what we found was that their initial request was for us to do just a few shop-alongs in local select stores. The challenge with this approach was that it would have yielded a smaller read and would have really been unfit for national projections. This is some of the issues or concerns that we help clients foresee, especially with this type of pitfall when a location selection for research is being done not on the merits of the project, but the merits of something else, like a budget or convenience factor. So, with our approach, what we recommended to the client was instead of shop alongs, we recommended doing survey intercepts with a national sample of stores. And the results were, fantastic. The client got projectable insights. More importantly, because they listened to us, because they went with our expertise on this issue, and they understood why we wanted to avoid doing shop alongs in just local select stores. With this approach of doing intercepts nationwide, what the client also identified was that the markets that were smaller in size in tier 2, tier 3 level cities, the concept really needed improvement. There were some significant changes that these smaller markets wanted, and they were quite open about it, where had the client rolled out the concept without making these changes, then we are very sure now, knowing what we found out, that these smaller markets would have just rejected it. So because of this project, the client was able to identify these improvements, resulted in a 7-figure successive rollout, and more importantly, really helped the client avoid losses in millions of dollars. At this point, before I move on, I just wanted everybody who is on this webinar to really think about what something like this would do for your career, both in the positive and the negative sense. Rolling out something without doing this type of well thought out research could be putting you at risk for losses, but thinking it through, doing it in a way where you get national projectable insights, and then being able to stake claim to a 7-figure successive rollout, that is also something that this can do for your career. So at the end of the day, no surprises, we had a very satisfied client. Another pitfall that we see a lot of times is selecting the wrong shopper to do your intercepts or to participate in your on-site research. And the cause for this again is convenience. Just including anybody who is available or in your store or in your location, getting them to participate is a recipe for disaster, because this often results in unrepresentative sample, incorrect insights, and basically incorrect data. So our solution always is, again, we go back to the survey design part, but really focusing on what is the type of customer that needs to be included in this research that is visualized and obtained by leveraging correct screeners in the survey, by the use of quotas and filters for purchase intent, demographics, history, a lot of these things that can really focus and target the kind of shopper that is, or the kind of customer that you need to fulfill the objectives of that project. I know this is very commonsensical, but this is something we see clients fall prey to a lot of times. For example, this particular client of ours, a very well-known fast food chain, at one time they wanted to study and understand what menu preferences were similar and different between their weekend and weekday traffic. And initially, this client, since the bulk of their business, was during the weekend hours, they wanted to focus specifically on the weekend traffic, with the assumption that, since they had a lot of loyal customers, a lot of them would be coming in on the weekends, and so they could bypass the weekday traffic. This was, a lot of you might be shaking your heads, but this is a recipe for disaster, because weekday traffic, yes, sometimes you do get a lot of overlap in the weekend traffic, but our experience is it's also significantly different. You might have a lot of different people who might not be visiting during the weekend hours. So our approach and our consultation with this client was to really do a split shift and to get the weekend and weekday traffic in, and also to include doing research at different meal times, so that we could get a sense for any differences that were at play, which we did find. The results were quite remarkable, because we were able to pinpoint significant diner differences by not only their meal preferences, but also by when they were coming in, whether it was the weekday or the weekend. So that was something interesting for the client. The end result for the client also was that they were able to get actionable insights for their marketing, which resulted in menu changes, which in turn resulted in 50% revenue lifts per store. So essentially, when we target the research in detail, then that is really how we get to the deeper insights, or what we call the gold in the research. That is our philosophy, and that is our approach. Another pitfall that I wanted to share with you is how we see research getting derailed and obstructed all the time when site or store managers or location managers are kept in the dark. And the biggest cause for this is that some of our clients, like you on the corporate side, assume that the store managers are part of the team, they're part of the company, and their cooperation will be, there, because this is something that is being driven by you. That is, again, a pitfall. And we see that the problem that it causes is, this is something that can not only cause delays and interruptions, but it can, as I said, pretty much derail the whole effort. The solution that we offer and we consult with clients on is really elevating the whole communication to stores. We do that by picking up the phone and calling each store a few days in advance, prior to starting fielding. We do this by really ensuring that the store managers, the site managers are aware of this upcoming research. They are not waiting on us to show up and then be surprised. We also ensure that when we do show up, then we present written authorization from you, our corporate client, to the store and location managers to further validate our presence. And the whole idea is really increasing transparency so that we are not viewed as spies or, unprofessionals. We really want to ensure that they understand that we are focused purely on the research part, and we will ensure that the data quality will be collected in a way that will present the insights from their store in a very fair and positive manner. Uh, by not doing this, the pitfall can really jeopardize not only that specific project, but also ongoing research, as was something that this client of ours found in their project. So this case study that I wanted to share with you was something that one of our clients experienced. They are a very well-known car wash chain, national presence, and for them, keeping a pulse of their customers essentially entails doing a lot of intercepts at their locations nationwide. And when this client engaged with us, they forewarned us that a lot of their locations do not want to participate in research because they have a general sense of dissatisfaction with how work was being done in the past with a different vendor, which often caused delays for corporate in getting the insights. So, our solution was elevated site level communication. We did all the things that we discussed in terms of calling them before, showing them notifications, giving them our phone numbers where location managers could be in touch with us when fielding was going on, really ensuring that we put our best foot forward with trained certified surveyors, and really having a very open communication with each of the hundreds of locations that we were doing research at. And the results, again, were, not surprising to us. They were surprising to our clients, but not to us. Essentially, we completed the project on time, under budget, but more importantly, this was a very comfortable project all across the board with zero site complaints. So that, is something that just having an open communication and really having a vendor or a data collection partner that understands the importance of keeping local stores and local sites on the same page, that is what really having a stress-free project is all about. This pitfall that I now wanted to share with you is something that is really close to my heart personally, and also for a lot of our team members. This is something that we have often seen clients fall prey to when selecting a vendor for their on-site research. And what we often see is a client will come to us with a project, and sometimes we'll provide a cost, and a client will then tell us that our costs are a tad bit higher than another vendor. And a lot of times we know some of the vendors that are out there that are known to have bad surveyors or poor training for their surveyors. But often a client will be tight on the budget, and we'll see that a decision is made to go with another different vendor purely based on cost. The pitfall that this causes is you often get bad surveyors who are poorly trained, which results in bad data and unsatisfactory experience for on-site customers and unhappy location managers. Overall, a recipe for disaster. So our focus really is to put in qualified professional surveyors. Surveyor training is key. So all of our surveyors have to go through training not only before every project, no matter how much experience they have in doing intercept research, but also training includes having to run through and test each survey multiple times. And really, ensuring that when they are on site, then the customer's experience is never really interrupted, but we get insights in a way where the customer also feels appreciated for their feedback. An example of how this pitfall can be at play often is something like this that happened with one of our clients, where this is a major consumer company, and for this particular client, they do a lot of promotional events for their beverages, and getting insights from their on-site customers is really important, not only for them to continue to keep a pulse of their business, but also to really ensure that their beverages are meeting consumer demand. So the challenge for us often is at these types of events is to really ensure that we get those quality insights, but without interrupting the guest experience or the customer experience. And that is really critical, not only for us to get actionable insights, but also for our client to continue to get insights that they can then leverage to make refinements to their offerings. So our approach with this client for all of their projects is to do exit interviews where the focus really is on ensuring that the guest experience is never interrupted while the events are going on, while they're enjoying the beverages. But then the idea is to engage with customers as soon as they have experienced the beverages and they are about to leave either the client's booth or the event. And we achieve this by really putting in savvy, professional, and trained surveyors who are, really trained to get these insights in a non-interrupting format. Results for this client for all of their events are the same, where they get high quality responses that help them accurately measure guest satisfaction without any of the biases or low response rates that would come with not doing it this way. As we walk through some of these challenges, and we've spoken about surveyors, and we've spoken about keeping an open line of communication with store management, another pitfall that I wanted to highlight that we see a lot of our clients and research colleagues fall prey to is really having fielding issues and data collection errors when the fielding is going on. And the cause for this is inadequate quality control, which often results in incorrect insights resulting from poor quality data. Our solution to clients that we consult all the time is, if we are going to be doing research in real time, what is the point of doing that research in real time if nobody is going to be reviewing the data in real time as well? Intercepts or on-site research, as you all know, by default is an animal where once the data is collected on site, there really is nothing that can be done if there are errors in the data. And we take that very seriously. So in our process, as the fielding is going on, there is a whole team of researchers that is looking at the data in real time. We are verifying not only the time and date, but all incoming surveys are also geo-stamped with the latitude, longitude coordinates of the exact location where the surveys are coming in from. And this really helps ensure that we are able to verify to our clients the exact locations that they had authorized the data to be collected from. This is something that I just wanted to flag that we see a lot of companies and vendors do not focus on. And this is a recipe for disaster. So please ensure that whoever your vendor is, not only do they give you access to the data as we do in real time, but they need to have resources allocated to be watching the data when fielding is going on. An example of the pitfall or the disaster that results when this is not done is something that happened with one of our retail clients, where they went with a different vendor. This was a project we were not even aware of initially. And we got a call from this client midway when the project fielding was going on or was about to be completed, where this was pretty much an SOS call to help salvage the project, because this other competitor of ours who had really come in with a cost that was lower than ours, that our client thought would be lower than ours, and the client had gone with them, had really botched up the project by putting in unqualified, untrained surveyors. So when we took this project on to help this client out, our mandate was really how do we guarantee a very high level of accuracy for this client, where they had already done majority of the data collection, and now we were being brought in to really redo the job. So we deployed our trained certified surveyors. We ensured that our surveyors were trained on that particular survey and the specifics of that job. We ensured that data reviews were done in real time, and also the date, time, and GPS stamping of all the locations and all the surveys was also being done as the data was coming in. We also ensured that our communication with the client and their locations was top notch. But overall, the focus was really in ensuring that there would not be any doubts on the quality of the data this time around. I see a question coming in from Kirby asking about if clients are given real-time access to the data. Yes, Kirby, the clients do get access to real-time data. We give you access to our data dashboard. But honestly, we don't depend and rely and ask our clients to view the data as it's coming in. That is part of our mandate. We also have that in our contracts with our clients, where we will be on task to review the data as it's coming in all the time, during fielding. So yes, you're allowed to see the data. We give you access to it, but if you don't have time to view it, don't worry about it. We will be looking at it. And coming back to this project, that is all, all of the things that I spoke about are what we did on this particular project. And that is really how we were able to not only salvage the project and earn a multi-year engagement with this client, but at the end of the day, I also got a call from this client, and we're very good friends now. And she told me that basically we had really helped save not only her reputation within the company by ensuring that the data was sound and the insights were actionable, but we also helped save her job because she felt that her career, her reputation was at line. And, this is something that I wish does not happen with anybody else, but it really can happen if you make cost be the sole focus of your hiring decisions. And I know sometimes budgets are tight, but the next time you're thinking about making a selection on cost, please do remember, with this particular client, what really happened. Finally, one of the major pitfalls that we also see a lot of our clients fall prey to is, doing intercepts the old-fashioned way, which is not leveraging the latest mobile technologies and capturing images or videos during intercepts. And a cause for this is typically sometimes clients are just not aware that it can be done, or they have a hesitation in capturing pictures or videos of customers. Maybe there are legal issues involved that they sometimes are concerned of. But the problem that this gives rise to is really getting an incomplete story and losing out on the richness of the insights. And so our focus is really, our consultation to clients is, if we are going to do in-store or in-the-moment research, then we do offer and recommend capturing in-store videos, which can really transform insights from good to actionable. This is something that we did for one of our CPG clients that wanted to test at store a concept in a new store. And, the idea was really identifying in the moment truths about a new concept. And so for this particular client, when we were doing intercepts, we also captured key shopper reactions via images and mini videos. And the results were really outstanding, for this client, because what they were able to get was not only did they get good quality data, but they also got a lot of non-verbal aha insights that really helped make the case in this particular client um, for getting um, uh, insights towards packaging improvements that a lot of their customers were really drawn towards. Um, because of the results of this particular project, the client was able to make a solid case for the packaging improvements, and really have a very successful product launch that we later found out in another phone call. This client said that launch was the most successful launch of his career. And he felt that the insights that he got from the videos and the images was something that really sparked a lot of innovation and thinking on their end. Um, I'm getting a question from John. Do you get a photo release from the clients? How do you do that? Yeah, John, so that's a great question. So, what we do is typically, as part of the survey, since we do a lot of this research on mobile devices like tablets, we'll have a small disclaimer programmed in, like a legal waiver, that we have customers sign before we take their pictures. And we can verbally tell them about it, that hey, before we take your picture or before we record your response, we just want to ensure that you give us approval to use this in our research and in future marketing efforts. So that is something that we do to ensure that our clients are protected from any ramifications. Um, Now, before we end this webinar, we've spoken a lot about some of the pitfalls that our clients face. Um, as we move on from the pitfalls, there are some best practices that I quickly wanted to share with you as well. Uh, when you are designing your intercept surveys, what we recommend is really keeping them short and fun, as we've been talking about. Keeping them 5 to 10 minutes, having only relevant questions, and really keeping the questionnaire mobile compatible. Um, Another best practice is really focusing on ease of use and visual appeal. Sometimes, when we are administering the surveys to the respondents or your customers in the stores, sometimes we have to show them the tablets. Maybe sometimes we have to show them images of advertisements or any images that you want them to get feedback on. So our focus is really to ensure that the whole questionnaire is programmed in a way where it makes it easy for use and for a respondent to see or scroll through in an on-site setting. We also recommend replacing text with images and visuals just to make the whole process and experience engaging and fun for the respondents. Gamification of surveys can also help, especially if you're doing mobile research or mobile surveys, to keep respondents engaged. Um, Also, as we spoke about, enabling in-store pictures, videos, giving customers the ability to do that, where we can give them the devices to do that, record their own videos. Or if you're doing mobile research, then just ensuring that you can have customers upload pictures or videos also makes the whole survey taking research process more interactive. And then finally, open ends are always key to getting those deep insights. Our surveyors, when we do intercepts, when we administer surveys, our surveyors are trained to really probe on open-ended feedback. So we never really walk away from a survey in which a shopper has just said things like, I don't know, yes, no, or monosyllabic responses. Our focus always is to really probe on the why or the don't knows or the maybes. If your current vendor is not doing it, that is something I would encourage you to really focus with them on, because the devil is really in the details. And finally, one of our key best practices is really to ensure that the reporting is up to the mark. A lot of our clients tell us that data collection is okay with their existing vendors, but when they get the reports, it seems like a data dump where they have to spend a lot of their time in redoing and refining the report. Our focus is different. We work with a lot of visual designers in-house where the focus really is to tell a story, to avoid the text, have more visuals so that when you get the report from us, then you can easily share it without having to spend time on it. In fact, we even have a guarantee in our contracts. Um, if any of our clients have to spend any time in refining a report after they get it from us, we take off $100 for every hour of their time that they spent redoing a report that we gave them. So, that's something interesting that we offer. If your current data collection partner does not offer that, I would encourage you to ask them about, giving you a similar guarantee. Um, Finally, closing thoughts. Uh, this webinar, as I said, was really intended to make you aware of some of these commonsensical but very commonly occurring pitfalls and how ignoring them, avoiding them can lead to peril, including poor data, bad quality insights, and even uh, jeopardizing careers. So, takeaways from this webinar are essentially always hire a company that can guarantee thought leadership in not only the data collection part, but also in the whole design and management and insight generation components. Do not go for a company that is just an order taker. Go for a company that can give you not only the expertise in the research, but also the certified trained surveyors. Focus on a company that depends not only just on having good people, good surveyors, but also has the processes to monitor the data as it's coming in, to keep you updated, to keep your stores, your local personnel updated and engaged in the process. Go with a company that can give you the technology that your projects need in terms of real-time validation, the GPS date and time stamping that is so critical for you to be able to be 100% accurate and confident about where exactly the data is coming from. Go with a company that has the agility, the flexibility, and the scalability to do nationwide research. And finally, uh, don't compromise with a vendor where the data collection is okay, but you have to spend a lot of your time redoing the reports. Instead, find a vendor. We are available, or go with another vendor that can give you visual actionable insights. Uh, really, data dumps really don't have any place in your reports. Um, and finally, I see a lot of questions coming up, and I will attempt to answer those as well. But if there are other questions, feel free to email me or call me at the number and email listed. Um, we also would love to give any of you a live demo of our Intercept solution where you can see some of the things that we've been talking about on how we program our surveys, what the experience looks like for your customers in the stores, what the experience looks like for you on the back end when the data is coming in, and how do we do our GPS time and date stamping. We can go through a lot of those in detail by showing you a live demo to give you a very good sense of how we do our intercepts. So I'll answer some of the questions that were coming up now. One question that came up, I see Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Thank you for attending. Do your surveyors have a dress code or wear badges? Yes, Jackie, that's a very good question. So all of our surveyors come in wearing business casual clothing. Um, so that is our dress code. Uh, all of our surveyors also wear badges which have which identify them as a surveyor or an interviewer. Our surveyors are also trained to approach customers on site with the understanding that these customers are there to shop. They are not there to take surveys. So there is no hard selling involved. But the whole idea is we approach them dressed in professional attire, in business casual attire, and then really get insights from them in a very professional manner as well. Um, I see a question coming in from John. You said you were under budget with one of your clients. Did your client get a refund? Um, John, that's a great question. So the client had told us that their budget was X amount of dollars. And in our costing, we were actually under budget with their initial planned costs as well. And we had told them that, that our costs would actually be 10% less than what they had budgeted. So that was a surprise that the client had. Now, we are always happy to increase our prices if anybody wants. And we typically don't get those requests from clients, but if that is something that you want us to do on your projects, we would be happy to. But overall, jokes apart, the idea is our focus is not to really charge an obnoxious amount for our time or our effort. Our focus is really to ensure that our pricing remains competitive. Uh, but at the same time, what I like to consult clients on is that, the laws of business dictate you can, out of cost or low price, timing or timeliness of a project, and the quality, the laws of business dictate you can only get two out of the three every time. Um, if you can get all three with any other vendor, I encourage you to try them on. But our focus has been that you can only get two. And so we focus on quality and we focus on timeliness. We let others compete on costing. At the same time, we are very competitively priced, and our guarantees are more around the data quality and the insights and the actionability of the insights. I'm getting a question from Corey. Hi, Corey. Are you able to survey in very small markets? And how do you do that? Yes, Corey, that's a great question. So what we do is, like I said, we have close to 5,000 plus surveyors nationwide. This is a team that we've built over the course of the last 10 years or so. And because of our nationwide coverage, we are able to cover a lot of the markets. Now, having said that, the type of clients that we work with, like Walmart, Kroger, T-Mobile, Petco, these are some companies that have stores in very different markets and that are very spread out. And so we cannot guarantee having a surveyor in every small town, city, or market. But because we have a very large force, we always have somebody who we can compensate extra to travel to a smaller market. That is something we promise to a lot of our clients as well, that we will never hire somebody new in a small market just to cover it. Our preference and our approach is to pay an existing surveyor that we are certain about the quality to go travel to that smaller market or to go stay there in a hotel for a few days if needed is a better approach, because then we can control the quality better as opposed to trying out a brand new person for the first time. So to answer your question, that is how we cover small markets, by leveraging our existing team and having them travel. Um, I'm getting a question from Nicole. Do you get better results with digital or paper surveys? So that's a good question, Nicole. And our experience is, from a quality standpoint, um, the results that we get from digital or mobile research is far better. The responses are better thought out. The response quality is better. The completeness is better, because with our digital surveys or mobile surveys, we can make each question required. Whereas with a paper format, a lot of times we have seen that incomplete surveys are also submitted. Also, keep in mind, with the digital work, we are able to review the quality in real time. Whereas with the paper-based surveys, you're really taking a chance on, looking at the data after it comes in, at the end of the day or at the end of the fielding. And at that point, if there are errors in the data, then you have no other option but to throw the surveys out. So in all, we have not seen any difference in the formats, purely from a bias or a quality standpoint. But our experience is that the quality really is better on the digital side. Last question from Danny: are you hiring? Danny, that's a great question, and we would always love to talk to surveyors and researchers who are quality professionals and who have a passion, for doing this type of work. Please send me an email at nitin@goldresearchinc.com, and I would love to put you in touch with our fielding department or with our HR department. That is all the questions that we've had. I wanted to thank all of you for your time on this webinar. As I said before, please feel free to reach out by emailing me at nitin@goldresearchinc.com or calling me at 1-800-549-7170 if you have any follow-up questions, or if you would like to see a live demo of our Intercept solution. I hope this has been a productive 50-60 minutes of your time, and I hope that some of the pitfalls that we have shared with you will really help you select, control, and manage your next project and your data collection and research partner better. I wish you all the best and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Bye-bye.